Welcome to another tutoring session with Ms. Taylor. Today's topic is dimensional analysis, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to set up non-metric conversions. How do you do that? You have to multiply your given that you want to convert by one or more conversion factors. How do you get a conversion factor, you ask? They come from equivalence statements. These are things such as that 12 inches equals 1 foot. So things like that. What you do with these equivalence statements is you arrange them as a fraction and you multiply by them. Now, how do you know if inches is on top of the fraction or feet is on top of the fraction? It depends on what you're doing. The unit you are going from is always supposed to be on the bottom. The unit you are going to should always be on the top. Now, let's do this example. Let's calculate how many miles are equivalent to 2 times 10 to the 5th centimeters. Now, I expect that you know that the 12 inches equals 1 foot, but you probably don't know off the top of your head that 1 mile is 5,280 feet, or that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So let's first write out our plan of attack, I like to call it. We're starting from centimeters. We can then convert centimeters to inches. We have an equivalence statement for that. We can then convert inches to feet. We have an equivalence statement for that. And then feet to miles, and there's our equivalence statement. So we're going to have to multiply by 3 conversion factors to work this problem. So when we set this up, we are starting from centimeters. And since we're starting from centimeters, the unit centimeters should go on the bottom. In this step, we're going to inches, so inches should be on the top. Now your numbers come from your equivalence statement, 1 and 2.54. 1 with the inch, 2.54 with the centimeter. And you can check and see that your centimeters have canceled, therefore you set it up correctly. Remember that your initial given number can always be written as being over 1 if it helps you to see the fractions that way. Next, we're in inches, we're going to feet. Since we're going from inches, inches goes on the bottom. We're going to feet, so feet goes on the top. And our numbers come from our equivalence statement. We know that 1 foot is equivalent to 12 inches. Check our units, the inches cancel. Now we're converting the feet to miles, so we're going from feet, so that goes on the bottom, to miles, which is on top. And our numbers come from our equivalence statement that I gave you. 1 mile, 5,280 feet. And again, we see that our feet cancel. The last unit on the top is what we were trying to get to. So we know we've set this up correctly. If you punch this into your calculator correctly, you should get, and this is not rounded to correct sig figs, I'm just rounding it off a bit because it's a long number, 1.24 miles. On conversions, they are normally a step that you do at the beginning of the problem or the very last step of the problem, and then you'll round your final answer. So I'm not so worried on sig figs because they're actually supposed to be like an exact thing. Now, if you're not getting that answer in your calculator, you may not be punching it in correctly. Look at these and see that they're fractions. If I were to rewrite this, you would have 2.0 times 10 to the 5th on top. And the bottom of your fraction would be 2.54 times 12 times 5,280. So my fraction was a tad large. Okay. And the way you would correctly put that into your calculator is that you would use parentheses. You'd use your 2 and then your scientific notation button. And some of you may have to hit second and then the button. Then your exponent, close the parentheses, divide, new parentheses, and then you could put in 2.54 times 12 times 5,280. Finally close and hit enter. And you should have the correct answer. Let's do one more. Let's convert 0.25 years to seconds. Now, I'm fairly sure we know all of our time conversions or our equivalent statements. So let's write out our steps. We're starting at years. The smallest thing you can break a year into in a single step is into days, because we know that there are 365 days in a year. You wouldn't want to break it into months or weeks, because you're not going to end up with the correct answer, because yes, there are 52 weeks in a month, but if you try to do, or 52 weeks in a year, if you try to do months, there's 12 months, but each month has a different number of days. Make the biggest leap you can. So the biggest leap is down to days. We can break days into hours, because there's 24 hours in a day. We can break hours into minutes, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. And then minutes into seconds, because there's 60 seconds in a minute. So our setup, we're going to write our given. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 conversion factors that we have to multiply by. Since we're going from years, and remember your first one can always be written as over 1, year is on the bottom. We're going to days in this step, so day is on the top. 1 year is 365 days. Units cancel. Now we're going from days to hours, so day is now on bottom, hour is on top. We know that for every 1 day, there are 24 hours. Days cancel. We're now going from hours to minutes, so now hour is on the bottom, minute is on the top, 1 hour to 60 minutes, hours cancels, and then finally from minutes to seconds, minute is on bottom, seconds is on top, the minutes canceled, seconds is the last thing on the top fraction, which is what we were trying to get to. Now, since we have nothing but ones across the bottom, all you have to do is multiply the numbers across the top, and your final answer should be 7,884,000 seconds exactly in your calculator. So, hopefully this helped you, and I will see you next time.